In this video, we'll be taking apart the Samsung Galaxy M35 5G. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell so you'll be notified once I upload a new video. Also, if you need any tools, there are links in the description. First, the SIM tray needs to be removed. Looking at the SIM tray, there is no rubber gasket around the opening. Now heat needs to be applied to the backplate using either a hairdryer or a heat gun to loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then a pry tool can be used to pry the backplate off. I prefer to use a hairdryer since there's less of a chance of damaging any of the components inside by overheating them. Here's a look at the plastic back cover. The glass camera lens covers can be replaced by applying heat and prying them off, so you don't need to take apart the phone to replace those. Now there are 16 Phillips screws which need to be removed. The plastic cover over the connector for the fingerprint sensor needs to be removed. Now the cable can be disconnected. At this point, a pry tool needs to be placed in between the back housing and the frame of the screen and run along the edges to pop off the catches. The back housing is also made of plastic. There are numerous antenna flex cables around the back housing, as well as the NFC antenna. We see additional antenna flex cables on the other side, as well as an area of graphite film to help transfer heat. The battery cable can now be disconnected, followed by the rest of the cables. This flex cable connects the main board to the subboard, as well as the flex cable for the screen. The coaxial cables on the bottom right side of the board can be disconnected by just popping them off. There's a single Phillips screw which is holding down the main board. So taking a look at the main board, we see the 8 megapixel ultra wide lens, the 50 megapixel primary camera, as well as a 2 megapixel macro lens. The main camera is the only one with OIS or optical image stabilization. The camera connectors can be disconnected by just popping them off. The LED flash is located here, and there's a secondary microphone on the top. There are also rubber gaskets around the connectors. The SIM and memory card reader is located on the other side, as well as the ambient light sensor, and the 13 megapixel front facing camera. There's also a graphite pad on the back shields to help transfer heat. Once the graphite pad has been peeled back, we see a thermal pad which is seated on top of the processor. To remove the battery, there's a pull pouch provided to help you pry it off. Here's a look at the 6000 mAh battery. Once the battery adhesive pouch has been peeled back, we can see a vapor chamber which runs underneath the battery as well as the motherboard. If you needed to replace the screen, you'd have to remove the back plate, the screws in the back housing, at which point you disconnect the flex cable for the screen and subboard. You'd pry off the screen cable from the frame, heat up the front of the phone where the screen is to loosen up the adhesive underneath, pry the old screen off, apply new adhesive and reapply the new screen, making sure you run the flex cable back to the opening in the mid-frame, and reassemble the phone. There's a single Phillips screw which is holding down the subboard. Looking at the subboard, we can see the primary microphone located here, and next to that is the charger port. Here's a look at the other side. The vibrator motor is located here, which is held on with some adhesive. To replace that, just apply some heat and pry it off. And the same goes for the speaker on the bottom corner, as well as the earpiece speaker located on top. For anyone worried about accidentally inserting the SIM ejector tool in the wrong hole, on this phone you don't need to worry, since both the filters and the microphones on the top and bottom are seated above the holes so they won't get damaged. The flex cable for the volume keys is located here, which is held down with some adhesive. To replace that, just gently peel it off. For the repairability score on this phone, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. Now it's time to put the phone back together. Once everything's back in place, apply new adhesive and reapply the back plate. Flip over the phone, power it on, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.